A single glance is all it takes for me to freeze time. A single thought is enough to move anything I want. Even the most ancient dragons bow their heads and fall in line behind me. And yet with all of that power, I was still at the very bottom of society in the Middle Ages. And it all came down to one thing. I lived in Camelot. King Uther, the man who ruled this city, had declared an all-out war on magic. Get caught, and you lose your head. No questions asked. I witnessed exactly that the moment I set foot in town. But right after the execution, everything took a sharp turn. An old woman broke down sobbing at the execution grounds, screaming at King Uther for slaughtering her son, hurling threats at him without a shred of fear.
An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. A son for a son.
Seize her!
Then, without missing a beat, she muttered a spell and vanished into thin air. I stood there watching, not quite grasping how serious things were. I kept moving deeper into the palace, looking for my mother's closest friend, the court physician Gaius. But before we even had a proper introduction, I had already saved his life. He was stunned, since a sorcerer showing up in the royal court was practically unheard of.
I just want to know where you learned how to do it.
Nowhere.
So how is it you know magic?
I don't.
Who are you?
I have this letter. It was only then that Gaius realized I was his old friend's son. He pointed me toward a small room inside and told me to get some rest, then thanked me for what I had done. I shrugged it off. To me, it was nothing. This was my first time stepping out of the little border village I grew up in, and this massive city had me wide-eyed with wonder. Gaius, though, was quietly tense. He had a strong feeling that I might be a sorcerer. After reading the letter my mother had sent along with me, that feeling hardened into certainty. The next morning I woke up feeling completely refreshed, and Gaius already had breakfast ready. Then, out of nowhere, he shoved a bucket off the edge of the table. On pure instinct, I used my magic and stopped time cold. Gaius couldn't wrap his head around it. He had never believed anyone could wield magic so effortlessly, like it was second nature. It threw everything he thought he knew out the window. After that, he asked me to stay on as his assistant so he could keep a close eye on me. I said yes without even thinking twice. Then I headed out, and on my very first day outside, I managed to cross paths with the last person in Camelot anyone would want to mess with, Arthur, King Uther's only son. Arthur was a full-blown spoilt brat who made a regular habit of pushing his servants around in every way he could think of. The moment I saw it, I stopped walking and stepped forward without hesitation. Come on, that's enough.
What?
You've had your fun, my friend. Arthur laughed. Nobody in Camelot had ever talked to him like that before. I genuinely thought it was just your run-of-the-mill bullying. And even if this guy was somebody important, I had magic on my side, so I wasn't scared. But with so many people watching, I figured I'd test the waters first. And the next second, Arthur had me pinned.
You're in jail for that.
Well, who do you think you are, the king?
No, I'm his son.